What's up, everybody? Hey, this is Ruben here. This is the first official check-in, right? This is the first full week check-in of me being a healthy truck driver with a kind of a strict keto diet, calorie restriction, all that stuff, right? It was like, you don't have to calorie restrict and all this other stuff, whatever. This is what I'm doing, right? And this is while being a full-time over-the-road truck driver. And so in this week, so last week, I started doing like fasting, kind of like a modified intermittent fasting, and I lost a bunch of weight. We cleared out our stomach. We were probably eating too much for the holidays. And so we've already, so our goal, just to recap, our goal is to lose 8 pounds a month. That's the goal. It's an 18-month goal. Whatever if I get to my number before that, I'll cut it off. But we're going to try to do this experiment for 18 months. Everybody's like, that's a long time. Yeah, it is. So what? And so this week was, the whole week I was really, really busy. So I'm going to talk to what I was doing for trucking. I had a 65 to 70 hour work week, basically. Really, really busy. Started in Azusa, California, worked my way down to Ontario, got my reload, worked my way all the way to Albuquerque, New Mexico, offloaded over there, then made my way to Houston, Texas. Then from Houston, Texas, picked up another load, and then made my way all the way back to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then ended up where I'm at right now. This is Sunday night in Amarillo, Texas. I got to unload in the morning, first thing in the morning. I got to get up around 5 in the morning so I can get that load, but I'll talk about that. So the context of this healthy eating stuff is that I had a really busy week of trucking, right? We didn't have to tarp a load, so that's good news. Well, we had to untarp our first load in Azusa, but everything else, we didn't have to tarp. We got lucky there. And so anyways, so since I've already met my weight loss for the month, this week I decided to do some experimentation. Now since I outlined how busy I was, I journaled for 2 days up until the 6th, and then I kind of took a pause from it because, I needed to get good sleep and stuff like that. And so I also realized I needed to get some supplies because I found myself buying hard-boiled eggs at the truck stop, which it's not that I shouldn't be doing that, but it's like I should have it in my truck so I can keep going, right? See, part of the issue with being a trucker, over-the-road trucker, is this whole time thing. You're always in a hurry. You always want to get to the next load. And so part of efficiency in the world of trucking is you got to be able to keep moving. You can't just sit down all day and do stuff. There are pockets of time where you could do that, but for the most part. So Wednesday found me in Houston, Texas. I found myself in Houston, Texas, and I found an opportunity to go to a Kroger market there. And Kroger, it's a good market. It's not H-E-B, but it's a good market. And it was in Houston, Texas. I found truck parking, and I knew I had a small window where I could get some supplies, but they didn't have the stuff that I wanted. And what I really wanted, and what I realized by Wednesday when I stopped at the market, and I made another supply run today, Sunday, so I can get the stuff that I was trying to get to. So I wanted to get some quick, protein-heavy snacks, if you would, like quick meals that I can make. And because I was so busy during the week, I already started seeing myself like I didn't have the right supplies. It was kind of a mixed match. I had some stuff that would take long to cook. I had to sit down and cook it at the end of the day. But then eating so late in the night, I really wasn't a fan of that. So I wanted to be able to make a meal earlier. And everybody's like, well, just take time out of your day. Just doesn't work that way. You get so busy and bogged down, the next thing you know, it's 5 or 6 p.m. You shouldn't be eating anyway. Or if you do, it should be a really light snack. So anyways, so Wednesday, they just didn't have the deals. Like I wanted to get some canned chicken. I wanted to get some canned tuna. They had the tuna, but nothing was on sale. And I'm not a huge fan of tuna, but they did have sardines. They were 10 for $10 there. So, and then, they had some sales on like some zero sugar, like Gatorade, Powerade, and stuff like that. The electrolyte stuff, right? Because electrolytes are really important. I take my daily vitamins, and but electrolytes are important. So sometimes when I'm really out there busy being active, I just chug one of those down. I try to stick to water, but every now and then. And then I have salt tablets. I have all the stuff for electrolytes. I take zinc, iron, potassium, magnesium, all that stuff, right? Or whatever, yeah. And so I don't feel crampy. Although Friday night I did. I felt a little crampy. And so anyway, so Wednesday rolls around, and I find myself almost in New Mexico, and I go to sleep, right? And let me tell you something. From Wednesday night to Thursday morning, I had the best sleep I've had in a long, actually that was Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. Yeah, in a long time, I had a really good night's sleep. I sleep pretty good anyway. Because, you know, when you have like the high protein, low carb diet, I don't feel like a whole bunch of bloating even after I eat. Now Thursday runs around. I was able to catch, okay, so Wednesday morning, I ate breakfast at a small local diner. You know, support local businesses, whatever. I had chicken fried steak, breakfast, and then that night, Wednesday night, when I did my supply run, I ate some fried chicken. That was the only day I went over my calories for the day. And the way that I figure that out is through my Garmin watch, because I always leave it on all the time. So it gives me a good kind of approximation of how many calories I consume in a day, which is about 3,200. So that's the only day I really went over. Every day I was under. Thus, I'm losing 0.8 pounds. And also, too, today I jogged 11 miles. I stopped. You know, I do it I went to Walmart to get supplies, and it's a couple miles away. So I go there, I sit down, and then I jog back, and then I did it again. I did it twice. And so anyways, during the course of the whole week, so my journaling, I got behind a couple of days. And so I thought I could catch up, and I just didn't do it. So there's a little gap of 3 days there. But I've journaled today all Sunday, so I figured it all out again. And so we won't be doing, and then so this week turned out to be like an experiment. So what I did Saturday morning, I woke up and I had breakfast, and I ate a carb-heavy diet of pancakes. I had some bacon and eggs and pancakes. And it was more of a social thing, right? Because at the diner, I started talking to the waitresses and then other truckers there. I love kind of socializing like that. I kind of like that, right? I got on my laptop. I updated websites and, you know, stuff like that. So I did not feel good. Saturday was kind of a disaster day because it was super cold, like 18 degrees in the morning. And I had that real carb-heavy diet. It made me feel a little shaky, like that a little bit. That went away, by the way, right away. I just wasn't feeling up to taking a long walk. And that's the result of the carb-heavy diet, a carb-heavy meal. And so anyways, that being said, I got all the stuff done I needed to do, right? In terms of the trucking part, paperwork and everything. And so the reason why it's hard to kind of stick to these diets, because sometimes you feel like you need an energy jolt, but an energy kind of boost because you think you need it. But the reality of the situation, I was fine there. And of course, if you're going to be an over-the-road truck driver, you got to get good sleep. You got to be alert so you can make sure you're doing everything the right way. Your loads are secure because I do flatbed. You know, all that stuff, the physical demand of putting the equipment away, putting it out, strapping it down, all that stuff. You got to make sure you have energy for all that kind of stuff. So if in a perfect world, I didn't have to do anything, I could just go walk it every single day, but that's not the reality. This is the reason why I'm doing this. It's an 18-month-long experiment that I'm doing where it's a high-protein, low-carb diet. Like I usually eat fruit on a consistent basis, but this first 10 or 11 days, I've only had like 2 or 4 bananas. That's it. I haven't even had any fruit like apples or oranges or nothing like that. And so next week I want to see if I buy some mangoes or some apples, some peeled apples. So I am going to have some fruit, but for the most part, we're going to stick to the high protein, low carb diet. And so we're doing well with it, losing 0.8 pounds for the week. Now we've already lost as much as we needed to lose. We've lost 8+ pounds for the month, and that's the goal. Every month is just to lose 8 pounds. So it's not that it's okay to just not lose any weight, but I'm not going to try to spike my weight loss and be like, I'm going to lose 100 pounds in a week. I'm not doing all that stuff. This is a slow and steady I never seen anybody do a program where it's like 18-month long and we're just going to have a slow, steady pace and we could just keep it going for a long time. Everybody wants to spike, and I get that you want immediate results, but I want healthy long-term results. And I feel like I'm healthy. I've already lost a bunch of weight, and we're on this next cycle of getting to the next level of dropping weight, getting healthy, because I have aspirations of doing marathons and ultra marathons. And obviously it's going to take for me to drop a lot of weight to get to that point where I can build my body up to it. Now, I do feel like I'm on the right path for that. We do a bunch of walking, for the year. What is 11 days? I already have 27 miles logged So we're getting it done. We have over 125,000 steps. Everybody says that it doesn't matter. Steps don't matter. I don't care. That's the things that I'm going by. I don't have to have a special trainer. I don't have my Garmin watch. This is a $200 watch that I've had for 4 years now, and I'm able to read the analytics in the app, and I have been tracking my steps for 3 years now, so I can see the historical data of like what is a good month and what is a bad month. See, that's the thing. People say, well, you don't know about the steps don't matter, this and that. If you do them consistently and you track them, you can see the trends of what's good and what's bad, and what are you doing. Obviously, during the holidays, your steps lower. Mine didn't lower because I made a point to keep track of that. See, that's another thing too. It's a good way to keep track of what you're doing. And so in the world of trucking, it's easy for the weeks to just get behind you, get away from you. I mean, we're almost at the middle of the month already in January of 2026, and here we are. So this Sunday, so I'm back on track today with the login of all the calories, and next Sunday you'll get a breakdown of that, and then you can follow along, and I'll do how many calories I consume. Like today, my 3,200 calories plus that walk, those miles ended up to being 2,600 calories. Now, what does that exactly mean? I don't know. All these are numbers to base old numbers on, and to have goals to be consistent. That's all it is. Be consistent. So all that being said, we had a really good week. It was busy in the world of trucking, but in terms of my diet, I was probably that Wednesday threw me off a little bit. That Wednesday was a little bit much. I think I went over my calories that I consumed. So I was in a surplus where I think I consumed maybe 3,800 calories if I counted it right. So I was 600 calories over, but the next day I made up for it. I think I did like 1,800 or 2,000 calories. Now, the challenge of that is to be able to get some protein in you, where you're trying to get as many protein calories, you're trying to get as many grams of protein in with the least amount of calories. And that's a challenge, because there's a lot of foods that are a lot of calories and low protein. And so I'm trying to stay away from those, because they're not like effective, because I need the protein. I need the protein so I can rebuild my muscle, and I feel great. See, this is another thing about this. I feel great. That being said, feeling good is the best thing part of it. And I'm gauging it with how, like, Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, I had the best sleep of my life. It's been years since I had a sleep like that. I even commented, one of my buddies I was talking to, I was like, I can't believe I slept that good. I mean, I can believe it, because we're sticking to a diet, and we're trying to be healthy, and we're trying to we feel like we're doing the right things. And there's no special coach, no special supplements. This is all stuff that I could buy at Kroger. So today I went to Walmart and I bought a bunch of stuff. I bought like some imitation crab. That's not the healthiest thing, but whatever. That was like my little indulgence. But I bought some canned chicken. I bought some hard-boiled eggs, those little 6-packs, so I can make those on the go. So I'm not eating so late. That's the problem. So if I'm gonna prepare a meal, I'm probably gonna have to prepare it in the morning or on the weekends, or whatever the window allows. See, that's the unique kind of challenge of being a trucker over the road, is that sometimes the schedule dictates where can get meals at. And that's why it's important to try to have focus and have the flexibility of the meals that can adapt to what you need. I think that's the biggest takeaway. So anyways, that's it. This is it for Sunday. We're going to check in Sunday again. And this is a fluid thing. We're just beginning with this. If this is 18 months, this is going to be like 70 weeks. So this is like the first solid week of it. It was a bit of an experimentation, but we already got our weight loss for January done. So 0.8 is a plus. I think for the month so far, we're at 10 pounds or something like that. So we're not concerned with that, the number. We're just concerned with being on the right path, not going up per se, like having a blowout, or being off course. I call it, because you don't want to say cheat meal, because who are you cheating on yourself? Come on. Like, you're just getting off course. Like that Wednesday, I got off course a little bit with that fried chicken, because I already had a meal in the morning. And yeah. So anyways, if you're a truck driver or any person struggling with weight loss, or especially truckers that you're on the road struggling with weight loss, or you found yourself gaining weight, or you're having a hard time getting a good physical, put yourself in the comment. Let me know. I'm going to read all the comments. This is going to go up on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram, the whole video. So you don't have to go anywhere else. If you see it, watch it, just subscribe and comment, interact. That's all I'm interested in is the interaction. there you go. So let me know what you guys think. Did it stink? Was it a good vlog? Whatever it is, I don't know. Just tell me what you think. We're going to post again. We shaved all our beard off too, just to get a free, clean look. Change things up. We'll grow the beard back. Somebody was telling me, what's wrong with you? I was called the Native American Indian because I haven't cut my hair. Somebody asked me if I was a Native American. I've been called a Samoan, a Persian, and now an Indian, which nothing against any of those people. It's just funny. That's the way it works. But anyways, you guys have a good night. For truckers, safe travels, hammer down, be safe. And, let me know what you guys think. All right, bye.